Developing news out of Hampshire County, we're learning more about the pedestrian crash that killed an elderly couple last summer in Easthampton. Thanks for joining us, everyone, on Western Mass News at 5. I'm Chris Pisano. A South Hadley man has been charged in the crime, and Western Mass News reporter Paris Dunford joins us live with the latest details. Paris.
Chris, Stuart Larkin faced a judge earlier this morning for his arraignment. He's accused of driving into and killing two pedestrians back in August. 81-year-old Edward Hanlon and 60-year-old Alana Murray were hit and killed crossing the road after getting off a PVTA bus on Northampton Street in August 2022. This is the scene when our Western Mass News crews arrived that day. Western Mass News spoke with people who knew the couple well back in August, and they described them as selfless, caring people. And on Monday, a man faced a judge charged in connection with their deaths. Stuart Larkin is charged with 2 counts of motor vehicle homicide by negligent operation and 1 count of speeding. Western Mass News spoke with the prosecutor on this case, Matthew Thomas, about why the charges took so long.
It can be complicated. The thing that takes the most time is the calculus, the physical analysis of the scene. The investigation was assisted because investigators were able to get surveillance video from a nearby business, so we have a pretty clear idea of what happened.
Thomas tells us Larkin remained on scene after the crash and cooperated with investigators. Court documents obtained by Western Mass News state that Larkin allowed police to search his phone and the data in his car to help them better understand the accident. Larkin's license has been revoked since the crash and will remain revoked until this case is resolved. During Monday's arraignment, a June date was scheduled for a pre-trial hearing.
With any luck, we'll be able to try the case before the end of the year.
Now, Larkin was not arrested, only summoned to court today. Because of that, no bail was requested. Reporting live in Easthampton, Paris Dunford for Western Mass News.